For a sweet American breakfast, you don't need bacon and eggs, you need pancakes. But no pancake breakfast would ever be complete without maple syrup. So where does this sticky sweet alternative to honey actually come from, and how is it produced in big enough quantities to satisfy a hearty appetite? Maple syrup, unsurprisingly, comes from maple trees. Many grow in the States, but the world's biggest maple forests are found in Canada. Huge forests of these trees can be found tied together with plastic tubing. This is where the maple syrup begins its journey. It starts out as sap in the trees, which the workers collect by drilling holes into them. Taps are then hammered into place and the sap can start to flow into the network of pipes ready to be collected. Maple syrup season is the spring. The trees begin to produce fresh sap to make new leaves for the summer. As it rises up through the roots to feed the tree, the workers' taps divert some of it to be made into syrup. Up to 190 litres can be taken out of a big tree each year without harming its health. To collect the sap, the workers have come up with an ingenious solution. The pipe network is carefully laid out to flow downhill. This way, gravity does all the work. The workers do keep an eye on the network looking for leaks or problems, but if it all goes well, the sap should end up here in the collection shed. Thousands of litres of sap arrive here every day, but it's a very slow process. Because there's a huge demand for syrup, the plantation owner has installed a motorized pump to literally suck the sap out of the trees. At this stage, the clear sap is thin and watery, and although it would taste slightly sweet, it wouldn't have the traditional maple syrup flavour. During the spring, this quiet shed becomes a hive of activity. It gets regular visits from the collection guy whose job it is to take the sap from here to the evaporation plant. To turn maple sap into syrup, it needs to be heated to 100 degrees Celsius for the excess water to evaporate. Sap is mostly water and it takes 40 litres to get just 1 litre of syrup, which is why it's so expensive compared to other varieties. Large fires are lit under the big evaporation tanks and the roof is opened so the water vapour can escape. Once the flames have properly taken hold, the ovens are closed. The sap can now be released into the tanks, ready to begin. It's a long, slow process, but that's no excuse for the workers to relax. To condense the sap into syrup takes several hours, and they have to continually refresh the fire at regular intervals to keep the temperature just right. It looks like quite a simple job. Heat the fires, watch the water evaporate. But it's more complicated than that. The sap has to be watched closely for the critical moment. If they miss it, a whole batch can be completely ruined. The evaporation thickens the sap into syrup, but too much cooking would crystallize it. This would be disastrous and the whole lot would have to be thrown out. The sap only becomes syrup once a certain density has been reached, and the workers measure this using a hydrometer. As soon as it hits the right density, the pure syrup is released via the tap in the bottom of the tank. And all that's missing is a big stack of hot pancakes. With the open roof and the smell of warm sap on the breeze, insects may have wandered in for a sample. To ensure they aren't bottled up with the fresh syrup, it's now filtered through cotton. What emerges from the tap below is pure, finest quality maple syrup. Although it's all made in the same way, there are several grades of maple syrup which are based on its colour and quality. The first sap of the season is clear and has a mild, delicate flavour. As spring progresses, organic acids that the tree produces make later batches darker and richer, but it would still taste good on your pancakes. The final grade is the darkest and most intense, and this is used in industrial cooking and for artificial flavors and coloring. Some of the finest quality syrup is sent to be packaged up in the traditional maple leaf shaped bottles. And once you've tasted some of this golden syrup, every day feels like a good excuse for Pancake Day.